Well, apart from the fact that it's a lot of fun, it will help you never to lose track of your favorite books, which is especially helpful if you read a lot of library books. If you ever find yourself wondering what the name of that book you read years ago was, you can whip out your book journal and find out. You can also set reading goals, create fan art for your favorite stories, play around with different journaling and scrapbooking techniques, and so much more. Today we'll talk about book journaling, which is something I took up almost exactly a year ago, and at the end of this video I'm going to give you a quick flip through of my first and only journal so far. But let's have a look at some must-have spreads for 2025 first. So starting with a cover page for 2025, and then moving on to one of my favorite spreads in the entire book journal setup, which is the 25 books for 2025 spread. I did this last year and I really loved it. So how this works is that you just choose 25 book titles that you resolve to read that year, and you might not get through all of them, but it's just a nice little starting point when you're looking for book ideas. Moving on to our next page, which is a 2024 recap. So I've just put down the number of books that I've read, which was 54 books, which is pretty good. That average is about 1 book per week. And then I've also read, I think, 16,000 pages more or less. I wasn't completely accurate with this stat. And then I've also glued in the covers of my 2 favorite books for that year, my favorite fiction book and my favorite spiritual book. So my favorite fiction book for 2024 was 1,000 Heartbeats by Kira Cass, which just goes to show that I'm not as grown up as I like to think. And then by far the best spiritual book was The Diary of Saint Faustina, who was a Polish nun that experienced visions of Jesus in the 1930s. Opposite that, I have my to be read or TBR spread, and I've just called it Maybe Next. Moving on to another favorite spread of mine, which is the ABC Book Challenge. Basically what this is that you just try to read a book starting with each letter in that year. Last year I managed to do 20 out of the 26 letters, and you can either play this by book title or by book author. I played it by title and it was a lot of fun. Moving on to my book tracker list, where I'll just write down the title and rating and page number, so I'll just get a nice overview on this page. And then it's time to start with the monthly setup, which is just a very simple cover page. And then on the other side, I'll just have my regular setup of reading stats. I'll put down the list of books that I read that month, and I will choose one book to win that month's book of the month. And this is just a general book journal setup, which you can already have a lot of fun with. You can obviously add more reading challenges. I will probably add another classics checklist to tick off any classic literature that I've already read. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and I will see you next time.